Right, I'm back. I have a little bit of ambient sound behind me. I've turned my my fan on because it's very hot. I don't remember if I turned that off before my stream crashed. Um, yeah, I didn't actually realize the stream had gone down. So I continued on for about another hour after it had crashed, talking to apparently nobody. I could see that nothing was happening in the chat. I was asking lots of questions, nothing coming back. So that was a little bit weird. And then I realized something's not quite right here. Went to Discord, asked some questions in Discord, and figured out that it crashed. Anyway, um, I'm back. I just wanted to do a quick, short catch-up video to basically bring this to a close a little bit, kind of show where I'd gotten to. I'd kind of been flip-flopping on a few different decisions that need to be made here on the chase scenes. So I'm just going to kind of talk around those very quickly, but effectively, we've gone with this snakes and ladders approach. I've put a procedure at the front here to try and make it a little bit easier. The one thing that is quite apparent from the procedure that's been written by the OSR version is that it's very much assuming that the player characters are being chased. It's a little bit woolly if they're the ones trying to catch someone. So this all works fairly well for that, but if the PCs are the ones actually doing the chasing, you need to actually set the opponent a certain number of squares ahead. And yeah, I'm still not happy with this, but I've put a first procedure bit in there which says if the PCs are pursuing, the GM makes the first move to determine the starting square. Meaning they roll a move to determine where they're starting. I'm kind of tempted to just say that they start God, I don't know. Yeah, I'm tempted to make it just a starting position and just like put a star on the board somewhere. Let's say like we're position 5 here. So put them like here, position 7 on the board. Like that's the starting position for the NPCs if they are being pursued. Oh, I don't know. Another option is they get to start. I don't want to tie it to their actual vitality value, because if they have a high vitality value, then they could be starting like right at the end of the board. Some monsters, for example, are going to have a very high vitality value if they're big, but then they're also going to be able to move very fast. So being able to catch something that's massive is going to be next to impossible anyway. This wouldn't really work for that. I mean, the one thing that did kind of crop up in my head is actually coming up with a movement rate, a movement value for every character, simply for the chase scenes. But I kind of want to avoid doing that for a number of reasons. It's a trait that is only used for chase scenes, and I don't know how often they're going to come up in people's campaigns. I want traits to be a little bit more meaningful, and I think that value can. But yeah. Anyway, the other thing I really like about the system I've come up with so far is that I've tied your move rate to your current vitality value. So the idea is that if you're injured, you're not going to be moving as quickly, and it's a straightforward, easy to grok number that's just there. The more injured you are, the slower you're going to be. The more you've been beaten up and bruised, the slower you're going to be. You also test vitality in the later stages of combat, like from round 3 onwards, and chases from round 3 onwards. So I also like that you're less likely to succeed, get those extra successes to be able to move a bit further, but you can still always push the roll to try and do that. It just kind of works really elegantly and nicely to kind of compress everything down. So I don't want to use movement for that, but using vitality as the movement rate is problematic when it comes to what could be considered tough creatures or tough opponents who have a high vitality, because it's also kind of assuming that high vitality equals fast, right? And that's not always the case, because somebody who's tough, you can have somebody who's agile and fast, but not very tough, not a very high vitality figure or value, and they would be slower than somebody who who hasn't put like any skill points into agility, so they're theoretically quite slow, but they're very tough. They have a high toughness value, and that would mean that they would be able to catch up on that agile character fairly quickly, which I also don't like. So I like how vitality is slowing you down when you're injured, but I don't like it to be I don't like how it's the movement value. And the only way I could think about this is you use the tweak to this is that you use agility, your agility skill value as your base movement value. And when you test your vitality, if you fail that test, you get a minus. This is how Call of Cthulhu does it. You get a -1 to your agility roll. So you're going to be basically slowed down the lower your vitality is, but it's actually not. Your kind of speed is still a different stat. So agility would determine basically your overall speed. I guess that kind of works. The problem is that the agility value is going to be is between either 1 and 5. Excuse me. For most characters. So the 25 by 25 grid is actually quite big, right? This 25 by 25, this 5 by 5 grid is assuming that people are going to be rolling either a D4, a D6, or a D8. A D4 for people with heavy armor, and you're going to take the lowest value. So you could definitely roll. Well, no, you take the two lowest values and you add them up. So you're kind of like, if people are rolling really badly, then you could only be moving 2 every turn, but 2 would be like the bare minimum. There are no extras to move extra. So I guess that kind of works where, if your agility is only 1, you can still get a success and move forward 1. Or if you have a really high vitality and you're rolling a big pool of, like, say, 9 dice and you get 2 or 3 successes, but your agility is only 1, you can still move 4 spaces on the board. So I think this is something that just needs to be tested out. And I've been flip-flopping on whether I'm going to be using agility for the base or vitality. Regardless, the procedure, and this is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. The procedure is, where do you determine the starting square? So I think we're just going to say the GM makes the first move to determine this. So the PCs are pursuing. The opponent's starting square is their agility rank plus D6. The GM rolls a D6 and adds that to the opponent's agility rank to determine the starting square. And I'm going to change this from a 1. How do I change that? Whatever. It should be a 0. So, PCs roll initiative and either move forward or backward. Fine. Make a closing the gap roll if any PCs are on the same row as their opponent. Fine. Continue the pursuit until the pursuers catch up to the pursued, or the pursued make it to the end of the board and get away. That's really not worded very well. How do they word it here? Chasers and pursued. That makes it a little bit more. It's not using the word pursuit all the time. continue the chase until the pursued are caught. Until the pursued are caught, or make it to the end and get away. Make it to the end of the board and get away. Make it to the end and get away. Okay. So, chase scenes use the same initiative as combat scenes. If starting a chase during combat, do not start rolling initiative again from round 1. Rather, continue directly from the current combat round. Each PC makes an initiative test appropriate to the current round, stability, agility, or vitality. Each success grants +1 to how far they can move. Failure inflicts a -1 to your movement. Your agility rank determines the base number of squares you can move. If you're wearing armor, reduce your move by 1. Characters can move forward or backward on their turn, but they must decide before the GM rolls for their opponents. Your agility rank determines the base number of squares you can move before your initiative roll modifies. Before being modified by your initiative roll. It will always be modified by your initiative roll, right? Because if you get a single success, you move +1. If you fail, you get a -1. So there's always going to be at least a +1 or a -1 every time you're rolling. Which maybe I want to change. Each success beyond the first grants a +1 to how far you can move. Each PC makes an initiative test appropriate to the current round. Each success beyond the first grants a +1 to how far you can move, they can move. If you're wearing armor, reduce your move by 1. Characters can move forward or backward on their turn, but they must decide before the GM rolls for their opponents. If they fail to decide in time, they must move forward. If moving as a group, take the slowest move result for everyone. Splitting up. At any time, the group may decide to split up. This is done after the move rolls have been made, before the pursuers have rolled. Closing the gap. Whenever the pursuers... Whenever the pursuers are on the same row as one... What a Call of Cthulhu call this? Fleeing character. Pursuer? The fleeing character, pursuer. Fleeing and pursuer. And we had pursued and chaser on the OSR version. This 10-foot polemic. Pursuers go last. Pursuer. Pursued and pursuer. Whenever the PCs are on the same row as their opponent. One PC from the group. I like this oppose. I like this closing the gap opposed roll where you can attempt to get a little burst of speed or to slow the NPC down. So whenever the PCs are on the same row as their opponent, after they have moved for the round, after they have moved, if any PCs are on the same row as their opponent, one from any group the PC who rolled highest, who rolled the highest move in their group can make a skill test. Let's try. Actually, might try this without that rule. This was the original. It didn't have anything like if you're on the same row, then you can kind of do something. Yeah. So this kind of adds a few tweaks to the general model, and that's this one where they've the GM rolls 2d6, the NPC token moves that amount. Sorry, no, it's if the tokens are on the same row, the two characters with the highest rolls may each narrate and make an attribute test. If they succeed, they may each move the group's token one space forward or move the NPCs one space back. I kind of like that. Alright, so I'm going to ignore that for now. I'm just going to ignore this closing the gap thing. I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. So movement. We're going to change this. We're going to make this the same for the PCs. The pursuers, the pursued always go first. Roll a d6 and add that to the pursued always go first. Roll a d6 and add that to the lowest agility rank to determine the starting square. Roll a d6 and add it to the lowest agility rank for the group being pursued to determine the starting square. The GM can move this as needed. Can tweak this position as needed. The pursued group roll initiative and move other forward. The chasing group and roll initiative and likewise move. The chase continues until the pursued are caught. So the chases are caught up. The chase continues until the pursued are caught or they make it to the end and get away. The pursued group rolls initiative and moves. So, fine. Initiative, sorted. Base movement, sorted. Agility. The agility rank determines the base number of squares. The base number of squares that can be moved. Before being modified by the initiative roll. Chase scenes use the same initiative order as combat scenes, except that NPCs also roll. Except that the NPCs also roll. Chase scenes use the same initiative order as combat scenes, except that. No, that's too confusing. If starting a chase, unlike combat, unlike combat, the GM actually rolls for initiative during chasing. Oops. Unlike combat, the GM actually rolls for initiative during a chase. The PCs always, the pursued party always rolls first. To make an initiative test, roll the appropriate initiative. Roll the appropriate initiative trait for the current round. Stability, agility, or vitality. Each success beyond the first grants a +1 to the movement. Haha, it's back. Yep. Hey, Eric. So each success beyond the first grants a +1 to move. Failure inflicts a -1. Base movement rate is modified depending on the initiative test result. One success equals no change. Two plus successes equals more successes. Each success beyond the first equals +1 move. Failure equals -1 move. Oh, that's not worded well. I think the previous sentence was fine. Each success beyond the first grants a +1. Each success beyond the first grants a +1 to move. Failure inflicts a -1 to move. This means the GM also rolls for initiative during a chase scene. Okay. Base movement. The agility rank determines the base number of squares that can be moved before being modified by the initiative roll. Okay. If anyone is wearing armor, their move is reduced by 1. Characters can move forward or backward on their turn, but they just decide before the GM rolls for their opponents. Characters can move... Movement can be forward or backward. But a group must decide before their opponent rolls. Otherwise, they must move forward. Movement can be forward or backward. I'm just going to take that out. I didn't like that. Movement can be forward or backward. And we've got the if statements. If anyone is wearing armor, their move is reduced by 1. If moving as a group, take the slowest move result for everyone. Splitting up. At any time, the group may decide to split up. This is done after the move rolls have been made, but before the pursuers, before the opponents have rolled. At any time, a group may decide to split up. This is done after the move rolls have been made for that group, but before the opponents have rolled. Doom points. After the players have rolled, the GM can spend 1 point of Doom to introduce an obstacle to a square. Roll to determine the nature of the obstacle. Multiple Doom can be spent to apply more than one obstacle. If there are multiple, if the opponents are split up, multiple Doom can be spent for more than one obstacle. Roll to determine the nature of the obstacle. We've got 6 options there. I should just say roll d6. Roll d6 to determine the nature of the obstacle. Any characters in that square must make an appropriate skill test to overcome the obstacle. Otherwise, they lose their next turn. I think that's it. I think that's enough to go on for now. I've got a basic map here. I need to just make it look a little bit nicer, put some pitchforks in. I'm calling it Fork and Torch. I've called it Fleeing and Chasing. So maybe I should not call it the Pursuit and call it the Fleeing. But the Fleeing and the Chasing group. The Fleeing group. Yeah, I'll do that. The Fleeing... Those fleeing... always go first. Roll these. Roll a d6 and add that to the lowest agility rank for the group. To the group being pursued. And add to the lowest agility group for the fleeing group. To determine the starting square. The GM can tweak this position as needed, if needed. The pursued the fleeing group then rolls initiative and moves either forward or backward. And then moves either forward or backward a number of squares. The chasing group then rolls initiative and likewise moves. The chase continues until the fleeing are caught, or they make it to the end and get away. Base movement, splitting up, landing on a forks and torches. Fork and torch, forks and flames. Now, you know what? I think I'm going to take a page out of this one here. Hold on. And just use pitchforks. Forks and flames. I think forks and flames sounds nice. Okay, we'll use forks and flames. Forks and flames. If a group lands on the hilt of a pitchfork. How is it worded here? I'm just kind of curious. Travel along to its point. If a group lands on the hilt of a pitchfork, they move instantly to the square with the prongs. If a group lands on a flame, they descend to this. They descend to the bottom of the torch. If a group lands on the hilt of a pitchfork, they move instantly to the square with the prongs. To the end of the prongs. So the prongs are the tines of a pitchfork. Tines or prongs? They're interchangeable. Three tines. In some parts of England, a pitchfork is known as a prong. We use tine. If a group lands on the hilt of a pitchfork, they move instantly to the. How would you say that? To the end of the tines? To the tip? To the tip of the tines. They move instantly to the tip of the tines. If a group lands on a flame, they descend instantly. They descend instantly to the bottom of the torch's handle. Hilt? The hilt of a torch? No, they instantly to the bottom of the torch. All right, I think it needs testing, so I'm pretty happy with this so far. The only issue is that I think it might need to change from a 5x5 to a 4x4 grid because agility is not going to be nearly as high. So the agility range is going to be, it could be as low as 1, it could be 0, and it requires a it requires a vitality roll, and vitality will determine whether. Well, not vitality, the initiative roll. So stability, agility, or vitality will determine whether that agility goes faster or not. So that could go up to potentially +1 or maybe even +2. Probably not how much higher than that. I should probably actually mention pushing here. Players can push this roll. I didn't mention that in combat either. Initiative. All right, I think this is basically it. So I'm gonna have to make this this grid look a bit better. I might actually start it off as a 4x4 grid. If I do a 4x4 grid, just because I have a feeling the values are going to be a lot lower than they would be generally on this version here. just because I think most parties would be doing a D8 or a D6 roll. Although you take the lowest, so if I was to, I'm just gonna go with D6s, right? We got. No, I'm gonna do 2D6s, a D4, and a D8. I'm gonna roll it 10 times. No, I'm gonna do something else. Nope, I'm gonna actually do some rolling, physical rolling. Because I like rolling dice. And not using a spreadsheet for it. Okay, so let's roll some dice. We're gonna assume a party of 4, according to this thing here, right? And that's gonna be made up of 1 person with heavy armor, 1 person with light armor, and 2 with medium armor. So 2d6, 1d8, and 1d4. And you get my other dice. Here we go. So I'm taking the 2 lowest values. So I've got first attempt. I'm going to roll this 10 times. And you add them up, I think, right? It is assumed that everyone is going as fast as they can. Add the 2 results together. So I got a 5, a 4, a 4, and a 2. So that's first roll is a 6. Yes, this is a lot more. This is a lot more. So the second roll is a 5. That's a cocked roll. Let me roll that again. 2 ones, a 2. Six for the fourth roll. 6 for the next roll. 7 for the next roll. Interesting. Looks like 6 is kind of the default. 4 for this next roll. Obviously rolling 10 times is not nearly enough for an accurate kind of distribution, but it's good enough just to see some slight trends here. A 1 and 3 4s, so that's 5 again. And my last roll, a 1, 2, a 3, and a 5, so that's 3. Yeah, so looking at these numbers, it's kind of, it looks like it's kind of clustered around a 6. 1 7, 1 single 2, some 5s, a single 4, and a single 3. So definitely like 5.5, I would imagine. Let me just add these up very quickly. 11, 13, 19, 25, 32, 36, 41, plus 8 is 49. 49 divided by 10 is 4.9. So we've got a 4.9 as the average-ish. So 5. Playtest is right, but I'm just trying to think of like what the average roll in this 5x5 grid. The average roll looks like it's about a 5, right? You're gonna most groups are gonna be rolling 5, so that kind of determines how far they can move on this. In my game, it's going. The starting point is anywhere from 1 to 3, 4, 5, up to about 3 or 4. And then you have to, if you get a single success, I think I might change the success criteria, so you're always moving, actually. So each success grants a +1 to move. So if you roll 1 success, you get a +1 to your roll. If you get 2 successes, you get a +2 to your roll. Failure is -1 to your roll. So there's always something happening. There's always something modifying that. So people with a high agility, if you fail your roll, then you're actually being slowed down. And I'm just thinking because if the kind of average number altogether for a group of like 4 is 5 movements on a 5x5 grid, I'm thinking that's too big for this here. So I think the default I want to use is actually, to start off with, I can always come back to this. I think the default should actually be a 4x4. So I'm gonna do some searches here for snakes, ladders, board 16. If there actually are any. Or I put more pitchforks and flames on the board. 3 and 3, something like that. So there's a lot more movement going up and down. The thing is, I don't want it taking a lot of time for it to get there. 4x4. I mean, you wouldn't play a 4x4 snakes and ladders game because it would be over really quickly. I mean, here's 3 here on this 25 board, right? And this is something I did talk about. Or I could look at this, for example. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this has 6 as well, but pointing in different positions. And there's a lot of forward movement going up, which is interesting. I still think it's going to take a long time to get through here. Especially as I've added Doom I've added Doom in there, and Doom is going to slow things down a little bit, I think. So I think a 4x4 board is probably the best way to do it. So if I'm going to do a 4x4 board, let's get Photoshop open again. We're going to go with the 1000. That 1000 thing this time. Snap to grid, show grid. It's not the right color. Well, Miyagi, I know you're not watching, but this is snap to grid in position. Oh, you know what I can do? Dope. I can actually just use the line tool. That would be a little bit easier. So, line tool. It's not big enough. The weight is going to be 10, maybe? I'll do. That's not in the middle at all. Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't even change these. They're all on the same thingy. Okay. There's my 4x4 grid. So I think I would probably look at doing something like this. Let's put another layer up. Take this down from 35 to like 13. That works. So here, Okay, let's get some color in here. Swatches, we're gonna go with green. So from here, there's a pitchfork. Not so sure about this actually. I like a pitchfork going something like, if you get really lucky, so you're going like this to this to this. Oh, okay. You got to end up here. This is the end. Let's take that grid off. It's an interesting little white line there. Whatever. Okay, so we have starting position of 1. This is where I fuck around with fonts for a little while. Even though it's just a little playtest thing. So, this one's 1. Here. We're going to copy that. Four times. We're going to move each of those out 1. I'm going to copy those. Move them up to here. Copy all 8 of those and move them like this. Okay, right. So, we then have... That's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 4. That's a 5. That's a 6. That's a 7. That's an 8. That's a 9. That's a 10. That's an 11. That's a 12. Kind of annoying that these are all okay, something like that. So 13, that's a 14, that's a 15, and this is the end. Okay, right, that'll do for now. So, I've got all those. Let me put a little group in place, pop all those numbers in. Tidy this up with the layers. Okay, perfect. So, I want my pitchforks. So you come around like this, and you come around like this. So I guess the first one to look at is when you get to, we'll put the first torch. I'm going to put the first torch here, I think. Going down to 2. And then we're going to put the second torch up here at 13. And that's going to drop you down to 6, I think. It's pretty shitty looking, but whatever. And then we're going to have the torches. So first torch is going to be at 5, and it's going to jump you up to... Six to 10, I think. And then we're gonna have, you bypass all that, and you get to 9, you go up to 15, you go up to 14, maybe? Looks a bit busy. Looks a bit busy. I like 13 dropping down to 5. I like 7 dropping back down to 2. I like 6 jumping you up to 10. It's 4 spaces. 9 jumping up 5 spaces. So the idea is when the closer you get to the end, the... You know what? Hold on, I got an idea. Let's just do 11 up to 14. Yeah. Do a little one here. So it's kind of, it gets more tense the kind of the closer you get to the end. Maybe do it like that. Looking a bit lonely on the side there. Got an idea. Got an idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really, really hard to say because there's no way to know for sure what the average. This is going to be very, very random. It's going to determine on the party skill makeup in terms of how much agility they have on average. It's going to depend on whether they are, how they're rolling for their, like how fatigued they are with their vitality rolls. If they're failing a lot of rolls, they're going to be getting lots of -1s, so it's going to take them a lot longer, even if they're hitting some of the pitchforks. So I would think sort of within 4 or 5 moves, it should be resolved one way or the other. Playtesting will be required to figure it out. I mean, I can start with this, and then I can go with something else. I'm not sure about the torches. I think I might just keep it similar to how they've done it with. I'm gonna duplicate this level, this thingy very quickly. Turn that off. I'm gonna erase. Well, actually, just delete. So just do that. Delete. Do that. Delete. And instead, I'm gonna do that. Oh, it was down to 5, wasn't it? I just really like the name Forks and Flames. I mean, it looks like shit because I've drawn it like shit. I can probably either commission Harry to do a board for me. I can maybe do it myself, and I just need some art for some black and white line art for Flame. And a pitchfork. Harry does some wicked pitchforks, and then I can just do the board behind it. Yeah, so this is the plan. This is what I'm thinking of doing, right? This would all be black and white, of course. So if I put up here a filter on, a black and white filter, it'll look something like that. Let's put this over the top. Which isn't really what happened with this one, I think. Yeah, they're sitting on top of the lines. Regardless. Yeah, it needs some playtesting, I think. So 6 to 10 is a 4 point increase. 11 to 14 is only a 3 point increase. 13 down to 5 is a massive 8 points down, and 8 to 2 is 6 points down. So if you land on a torch, it's much worse than it is if you were to land on a pitchfork, because a pitchfork just pushes you a little bit up weight. But I'm kind of happy with that. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to be working with. I'm going to save that for now as JPEG, and we're going to call this role-playing 9 Little Bees Pitchfork Art Snakes and Ladders Part 2. And I think I'm going to save this as a PSD file so I can mess around with it as well. Alright, so let me quickly pop that in place of the other one. Get rid of that one. And we're going to insert an image. I'm going to put this one in. And I think we're going to put this in as a separate, much different section here. Trauma coup de grace, that's not where I wanted to put that. I'm going to put it before trauma. Range combat, after range combat. And we're putting this section in here, which is fleeing and chasing. Alright. I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I'm just going to move this. I'm going to insert a page break for it so I can see what it looks like. We're going to change this so it's wrapped with the text. A bit better. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Fleeing and chasing. Here are the rules. Procedure. Initiative. Interesting. So what I would be trying to do is I'd be trying to fit this map with a procedure underneath it on one side of A5, and on the other side for the like when I'm doing layout, I would try and have all the rules for chasing and fleeing on the opposite side. So if you're looking at it as a single spread, it's got everything you need. You can also print that spread out as a mosquito. Get it? You can also print it out. There's mosquitoes everywhere now that I'm looking for them. Fuck. You get out of here. You can print out the 2-page spread, and you have both the board that you can use and the rules next to it, which I think is going to be quite handy. So however I end up like wording this, I'm going to try and keep it to fit on this like 2 sides of A5 paper, a single sheet of A4. And I think that should be quite possible. This doesn't look like too much. The only thing I have to do left here is to come up with, obstacles for doom points to be spent on. I can come up with that later. My brain is fried right now. It's 12:30. I wanted to stop at 2.5 hours ago with streaming. An hour and a half ago. So I think it's time to stop. The things I've changed during the stream, I guess, I think this may have happened when I was off, when the stream had crashed and I hadn't realized, is I've changed the acrobatic skill to be called agility. And I did a Control F and changed it throughout the text. That's because I want it to include speed and not just speed and quickness as well as kind of acrobatics and being able to dodge well. So I'm going to change this here to also say roll to move quickly. Roll to move quickly, or to balance, dodge, leap, and land gracefully from a fall. Roll to move quickly or explosively. I'll put that word back in there. Roll to move quickly or explosively. To balance, dodge, leap, or land gracefully. Roll to move quickly or explosively. To sprint, balance, dodge, leap, or land gracefully from a fall. So that's including a lot of stuff in there. The quickly and explosively. Athletics I'm not including. I actually had that in earlier and took it out. Because if you think about athletics, what are you rolling for with it, really? You're rolling for... I might put it back in. But you're basically rolling for swimming. In a game, you're normally rolling for swimming and climbing. That's normally the only times it ever comes up, athletics. You occasionally might have it if you're trying to run quickly. You might make an athletics check. But I think agility can handle that as well. A quick movement or fast sprint, that sort of thing, can be agility. Plus, I already have swimming and climbing as separate skills. So I wanted to split that off and say anyone can climb. Climbing is a general skill. But not everyone can swim. You have to know it's an advanced skill. If you don't know how to swim, you're going to drown, right? Because I think if you're playing commoners, I kind of wanted to bring that level of swimming into the picture. The question is, like, I see those as two very different, like, physical skills. Being able to climb something and being able to swim are very, very different. Oh, you like agility? I've got down a rabbit hole. Fine. Yeah. In which case, we'll see how this works. If a lot of feedback, people are saying I don't like agility, I think it works really well. I kind of like how this is handled at the moment. Where in terms of like being able to move, There are 3 skills: agility, climbing, and swimming. Stealth, you could argue, is also a type of movement, but yeah. So that's all I've really changed. One other thing I changed, I'll just throw this in as a little Easter egg for anybody who happens to watch this, is with character creation, I added an upbringing table, or a whole upbringing section, actually. Just do that very quickly. Yeah, so I'm kind of introducing a slight life path system straight into the rules initially, where you roll for your upbringing, right? Which is one of the things you do in the life path systems for the Free League games. But rather than having it like per culture or anything like that, I'm kind of following what Vaesen does, and Vaesen just has like a big list of upbringings that you roll for. It's not really split by anything. I don't think it's really split by anything, but it's a D66 table. It's a lot bigger. And that was something that I could potentially do for stretch goals when I take this to Kickstarter. But the idea here is that you roll for your upbringing, and you can start off as an orphan, a traveler, a wildling, a peasant, a tinkerer, or a servant. This is basically how you were. It says your parents' role, right? It's not actually your parents' role, because your parents aren't orphans, you're an orphan. Roll on the table below to determine your upbringing. Yeah, but there's no social class because you're all considered commoners, right? So that doesn't work here. It would. That would be. Oh, Vaesen is split by social class. Correct. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You're not saying to split this by social class. So upbringing: orphan, traveler, wildling, peasant, tinker, servant. And for each of those, whichever one you roll, you get to learn 3 skills associated with it. You just get 1 point to each of those skills. And I've gone through and actually done those already. Age, I'm actually thinking of taking age out. I did actually think about this earlier. I am going to take age out. So age is gone. I'm going to keep this closer to how Warhammer handles this. And Warhammer has a... In fact, I'll show how Warhammer does it with age. Second edition of Warhammer core rulebook. It's not hyperlinked. Interesting. Character creation. There it is. Age in years, right? So if you're playing a human, you can be from 16 to 35. You're basically an adult. And I like that. I like that. I mean, you can play older characters, of course, if you really want to, but the default is you roll a D100 roll, and it'll give you your age in years. So for this one, actually, I wanted to keep age in here. But I wanted to keep it where you are rolling... what did I work out before? 2d6 plus 16, is that what I wanted to do? I think so, because then you basically have a spread of... you could be as young as 18 and as old as 28. Or did I say 3d6 plus 15? I think... I was trying to work this out yesterday. 18 plus 15 is 33, and 3 plus 15 is 18. So that kind of works too. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it like that. You roll 3d6 plus 15. Yeah. Or I could do... No, I like that, I think. No, I'm going to keep it younger. Ish. 2d6 plus 20, maybe. So it's just easier to work out, do the maths, if you're just adding 20 to whatever you roll. So it'd be 22 to 32. It's not a huge spread. I could do 3d6, then it'd be up to 38. Depends on how young I want to make people. 23 to 38. Seems a bit on the young side for what I'm looking for, but I guess I could also just say, I mean, I could just make a simple table. And roll d66. Choose or roll d66 to determine your age. Did Vazen have... Vazen had aged in it? Yeah, it did. Oh, your limited edition of Vazen. That'd be cool. But the idea is I'm getting rid of this skill points, career points, trauma points split here. I'm just gonna default it here to this 16. So Pitchfork assumes your age. You are assumed to be an adult between the ages of 18 and 40. Choose an age or roll d66 on the table below to determine three ranges. So I've got 12 at the moment. 12 possible ranges. I guess I could just do this and make it, bring everything in a bit. Hold on. Okay, if I put the full 36 in there. No, let's do 18. A spread of 18. Spread of 18. So that's 6 here. So yeah, that's right. 2 columns to the right. Okay. Then we're going to distribute the columns. There we go. So it's 11 to 12, 13 to 14, 15 to 16, 21 to 22, 23 to 24, 25 to 26, 31 to 32, 33 to 34, 35 to 36, 41 to 42, 43 to 44, 45 to 46, 51 to 52, 53 to 54, 55 to 56, 61 to 62, 63 to 64, 65 to 66. Okay. And we're going to make these all like that. You're assumed to be an adult between the ages of 18 and 35. Choose an age or roll d66, d66 on the table below. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, there we go. Job done. So that needs to be level 2. Your villager has one career rank, one career level at character creation. A level 1 climber is a six, 5, 3, 3, 2, 1. Because the character is a level 1 climber, they can add 1 pip to the die, which rolled a 5, bringing it up to a 6 and providing 2 6. Okay. Well, that's it. That's me fixing age. It's something I forgot to do, wanted to do. So you still have age, but I'm no longer breaking it down and changing how much you start off with because I want to keep this as simple as possible. That means you're starting off with 1 career. Careers go up to 3 levels. Those levels will assign pips to your dice, to the dice that are rolled in the pool. And the backup of this, if this makes it too popular, also with re-rolling and stuff. In fact, I need to mention here how re-rolling works. If you push, oh, it doesn't actually matter. It's pretty obvious. So you apply them after you push. So yeah. I think with pushing the opportunity of getting a, in fact, I can actually show this. I need to go to bed. Shit. So, if I go down here to D6 levels. So I thought I did it for pushing too. I didn't. So assuming you're not pushing. So if you had, these are basically the probabilities of success, based on adding 1, 2, or 3 dice. Whether the highest dice needs to be a 1, 2, or sorry, whether you're adding 1, 2, or 3 pips to the pool to get a single success. So it's not really accurate, but it kind of gives you an idea here that if you're rolling a d6, or if you're rolling pools of d6s and you're looking for 3s or higher, just getting a single success with that is pretty high. Like, you have just 1 die in the pool. It's saying 67%. Oh, that's 3 plus. So I went 4 plus, 5 plus, or hold on. Yeah, that's right. So if you get a 3 and you've got 3, yeah. So you only have 2 failure faces, right? A 1 and a 2 is a failure. So it's, I mean, that's pretty bloody. Like, if you're able to use your rank, if you're able to use your skill. Nah, that's doubling up as well. I think that's overpowered. I think I'm gonna go with a warlock. I said I was gonna try and playtest this, but I think when you get to the higher levels, it's gonna be broken. So, careers are treated as a specialist skill and can be rolled whenever your specific training in that career makes sense. It is possible to gain additional careers as well as improve within them. Your villager starts with 1 career at character creation Your villager starts with 1 career at character creation. Careers are treated as a specialist skill and can be rolled whenever your specific training. Whenever you're training in, whenever you're training can be applied. It is possible to gain additional careers as well as improve within them. I've lost something. $16 skill points. We can ignore career points. 16 skill points and 14 trauma. I need the 14 trauma already. 16. Assign 16 points. Amongst your skills with the following restrictions. Key skills cannot start higher than 5. Did I put that in with... I don't think I put that in with the upbringing, actually. No, upbringing is in there. Version history. Right, there's no upbringing here, and it's still 16 points. So I'm assigning three of those skill points with an upbringing already. So I wanted to reduce the number of extra skill points there. So that would be like 13. I might just drop this to 12 to start and see how that works out. Careers both define your career will also list a number of key skills applicable to that career. Which can be start at a higher rank than other and which also must be increased to increase your career level. Your villager starts with 1 career at character creation at skill rank 3. So I have to change this whole advancement thing for careers because we don't have career ranks anymore. It's just like a standard thing. So I just need to put a little thing here with increasing your career skill. So this still applies. if you want to increase your career skill, to increase your career skill, the related so I want to say it's kind of capped by, you can't put it up unless all of the related skills are at its current level. So if your skill rank is 2, you can't put it up to 3 unless all of the base skills below it are at rank 2. I'll have to think about that. Not for today. I need to go to bed. It's almost 1 o'clock. So that's me done. I'm gonna stop streaming now. So thanks Eric for logging back in and chatting to me for a little bit. Thanks for watching. Apologies about the stream crashing halfway through. But I've got there. I've got a chase mechanic which is based on the OSR, this kind of crazy snakes and ladders system, which kind of sounds interesting. So we're gonna give that a try. If the 4x4 grid is a little bit isn't dynamic enough, then I'll look at increasing it to 5x5 and maybe playing around with some skill value, like what you're rolling for it. Well, one other thing I wanted to put in here is that I wanted to put a cap on this number, how high the skills can go, to really control the dice pool sizes. Oof. So your key skills can't start higher than 4. Your villager starts with 1 career at character creation. Character creation, your villager starts with 1 career at rank 2. Alright. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for getting to the end. Please hit the subscribe and like button if you like what you've seen and to get notified of future videos. If you're watching this on Twitch, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you are a Twitch user, I'm live streaming these on Twitch. And the link to Twitch is in the comments below, or the description below, sorry. You can also type in 3skulls.tv, as it says just below me here in this little ticker. And that'll take you to the Twitch page. If you hit follow on the Twitch page, you'll get alerted by email anytime I go live. So that's me done. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to go get come and try and cool off and go to bed. So thanks very much, and catch you next time. Bye-bye.